Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ig'rance podcast. Another episode, another week.
Oh,
None of us haven't seen the Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie. Am I right?
That's right.
oh wait, I lied to you.
You have seen it.
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, so you lied to us then, but you didn't lie to us the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't appreciate this relationship.
Anyway, I don't know where this is going. So I'm gonna knock that out before we even get started on that path. For you lying about lying. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We're
doing this again.
Yeah,
We're
had a
totally
break,
prepared.
Right? Yeah.
And
We had yet another break.
We had another hiatus. How many time skips before we can face the big bad?
At
That's
this
a good
point,
question.
I think we can stop calling them time skips and we can officially start calling ourselves unprofessional.
I think that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't we the most unprofessional professional podcast?
You
or
know,
the most professional, unprefessional. I don't know. The choice is yours.
yours is yours. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
don't want to get too deep into that.
Not yet.
Um,
Before we get started, I just want to say rest in peace to Aretha Franklin. That happened.
yeah,
And
we're a
rest in peace
couple-
to John McCain as well. That just happened
Yeah.
as well.
We're a couple
And
weeks late on.
Rest in
Aretha.
peace, Robbie Rotten.
And him too. Wah.
Aw.
He was like real life Waluigi.
Real Life Wah is gone.
Wah.
I didn't know. Like, I knew he had cancer, but that's sad.
Yeah, he died I think a week ago.
Yeah, he was the number one.
Yeah, rest in peace.
He was number one.
Schmitty, Robbie.
I think I made a joke saying that superheroes are no longer on the run.
Wah.
But I guess, to introduce ourselves.
Hi.
I'm Derek. Hi.
I'm the physical embodiment of 2,480 hours on Final Fantasy.
And I am Wah. And we're the
And
Ignorance
together
Podcast.
we are, like, hold on, we all have to do this right. We have to, like, spin around like Sailor Moon characters.
You can get right on the hell out of here with that.
Oh. Tashel, are you going to join me?
I mean, I can, but I don't know what value it'll do with an audio-based podcast. But
I mean,
I can
They don't
spin
know
my
that.
microphone around.
that sounds bad. Okay, well, anyway.
yeah,
I
let's
guess
just get into this.
before my dreams get crushed even more.
Okay, so
Derek's
let's-
dream is to be a Sailor Moon character.
Yes, it is. Stop interrupting, Tashel.
My bad.
no lie, when I was young, I always wanted like like how Power Rangers was live action. I always wanted like a Sailor Moon-esque Power Rangers. I didn't know how to describe it when I was younger. I guess I got it because Dragon Ball Z existed, but
Right.
I don't know where I was
mean-
going with that. Let's move on.
All right.
Let's get into
Excellent
our first
start.
segment. We call this the underrated, overrated segment, where we talk about something that we think that maybe gets too much attention and it's really not that good, or something that we think doesn't get enough attention that we think is actually pretty darn good.
This week's going to be a lot of the former.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We usually try to balance it, try to be negative and positive at the same time. But this week, we're all just going to complain about stuff because that's the kind of people we really are. So,
There we go. We're a bunch of pessimists who think that we're way smarter than we actually are.
We're not Rick and Morty fans.
my pick this week, is generally just long-running Western animated series. So by that I mean like the Simpsons and the Family Guys and the SpongeBob's and the Fairly Odd Parents, and basically all those kind of shows that have way outlived their usefulness, and at this point, like with the Simpsons for example, has been bad longer than it's been good, and it kind of diminishes the quality of what it once was, because all of those shows except for Family Guy I think started off decently.
A lot of people will argue that Family Guy season 1 was good.
1 and
But I'm
2
not
were
one of them.
I think. Not, like, phenomenal, but Also, like in that same vein, to share one thing, I don't know what made me think of this. You remember Planet Sheen?
I do.
Yeah.
Who?
Why was that like? And it came out like 3 or 4 years after Jimmy Neutron ended. So like all the kids who grew up watching Jimmy Neutron had already moved on, and new kids were like, "What the fuck
And
is this?"
I think I actually can wag my finger more at Nickelodeon cartoons than Cartoon Network cartoons. I
Oh,
can't really
Nickelodeon
think
is
of
super guilty of this.
yeah, I can't think of too many Cartoon Network shows that like just keep running and running and running and running and running.
Total Drama Island.
But that at least is like a bunch of revamps.
Yeah.
It's not just the
I
same
mean,
thing. At least
That's because Cartoon Network cancels their shows before they get bad.
that's true.
Or before they get good.
Right,
Or
yeah.
while they're still good.
Right.
I think they just have a dartboard. Or like the
They just-
Wheel of Fortune roulette wheel. All right, sorry, Gumball. I guess it's your time to go. Get out of here, Young Justice.
Oh,
You're in the middle of a season. Goodbye.
Right. I do think some people would argue Adventure Time, but
Yeah.
it's
Adventure
getting
Time still
canceled. This is its last episode coming up in a couple of weeks, so
Okay.
God, that show's been on for years.
About 10 years, 9 years, I think. Came out in 2009.
yeah, 9 years.
So,
Which is funny. I don't think we've ever talked about Adventure Time on this show, but that was actually a show that Nickelodeon passed on. I bet they're kicking themselves over that one.
oh, super hard.
There was a point. I think the reason why I have a lot of respect for Adventure Time, and I like how this is turning from complaining to praising something, but I have a lot of respect for Adventure Time because Adventure Time came out in a period when like Cartoon Network specifically was kind of just barren. Like there was nothing there. It was just a bunch of live action shows and
Garbage.
what Chowder and like who watched Chowder? Like, and I think
Right.
most people that grew up in
Rada
the
Rada.
'90s watching those cards, I think we were like too old for that kind of stuff. Adventure Time was more something I think everybody could look at because it was just weird.
Yeah.
And it was very memey, and everybody, that was when memes first started to become a thing. Finn was pretty much just a living meme. So, but I'm tired of these shows that just go on and on and on. I guess it has some kind of comfort for people that like routine, like people that have just every Sunday they know, oh, I'll just be able to watch Family Guy and The Simpsons. Like, I guess that's a comfort in thought, but
Oh, I mean, I guess that's what I do with One Piece.
well,
I also think you just hate yourself, so.
That's also true.
All right.
After
well,
this is done, I'm gonna go watch One Piece.
right in
I thought you were going to say something else, but before this gets too deep, I guess I'll go next. Mine was, or my overrated? Yeah. Yeah, I'm overrated this week. I'm going to talk, mine is new Eminem.
Not the candy,
Not a
right?
fan. No, the candies are fine. Like, and I prefer peanut M&Ms to whatever new M&Ms would be in that fashion. I don't trust it. But yeah, like Eminem, obviously a lot of people hail the man as potentially being the greatest, which, fair enough. Like, I get it. I got no beef with that. Not going to argue against you. But man, oh man, has this guy been, he's been off his ball for a minute. So,
Some might say he's the equivalent of a long-running Western animated cash
you
cow.
stole my joke. I was just about to say that.
again, not trying to discredit the guy for like the late 90s, early 2000s, but I don't know. Like, a lot of people are still, I feel like there's certain people out there, holding on a little too hard to the past. Like, I'll give you, like, the Marshall Mathers LP, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. No
What
one
about-
can take that away from it. But
What about the Marshall Mathers LP Part 2?
because he dropped Kamikaze, that was the thing that came out, and it was, hold on. I'm going to find...
What was his one before Kamikaze? That was his worst album I've ever heard.
The one. Well, no, he like just released something yesterday.
No, I mean
as
I
of us
know that,
recording it.
but he didn't he release something like a year ago or something? Or
A couple
like 2
months
years?
ago, I know he did. Hold on. This is super professional. But I want to try to find.
Revival is what I was thinking of.
Okay, whatever. I can't find it, but whatever. All I will say is that Eminem has been off his game for a minute. A lot of people. I didn't like listen. I think I listened to the. What was the one that came out? Like where it talked about like water and Trump. That's super specific, I know, but
Walk on Water.
I think it was like back at the like
Oh,
that was
you're
a
talking
song
about on this album.
No, the album that came out, I think it was like at the end of last year.
Oh yeah,
no, I think it was last
Walk
summer.
on Water. Yep, with
Yeah.
Beyonce. Which,
Yeah.
first of all, not two people that I would think I really
Ever.
want to
Yeah.
put together. I mean, I don't know why I said that, but
I mean,
he did do
you know,
a bunch of songs with Rihanna. So what am I saying?
That's true. Both legends in there. All right, hold on, I found it. The only thing we have in common is I'm a dick and you suck. Otherwise, one has nothing to do with the other. None comes close to skunk, bug, soldier, tongue, shrub, shoulder, 1 month older, sponge mob colder, none rug hoster, lug nut coaster, lung jug roaster, young thug poster, unplugged toaster.
Wait, and he's talking about the president.
Yeah,
Well, you know how I feel. It's
you know,
don't have-
unplugged toaster. That's a bar right there.
Here's your problem. Too
many
many toasters.
All right, Josh, you're up.
yeah.
Oh.
Thanks, Eminem, for making it uncomfortable.
All toasters toast. I also have an overrated fucking Crunchyroll, the one of the only anime streaming platforms.
Well, there goes our sponsorship. Thanks, Josh.
I'm also getting deja vu. I feel like you've done them before, but you know.
No, I haven't done Crunchyroll before. They're an awful streaming platform for what they do.
Wow, yeah, there really goes our. All right, Josh. You got any other bridges you want to burn?
He also hates Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah, I hate Netflix and Hulu. You're awful.
All right,
Amazon, your animation is awful.
You know, words from members of the Ig'rance podcast do not represent the
Fucking
organization as a whole.
Blue Apron has bad food. No, but
Audible
like
is awful.
Oh my god, you guys are wilding out.
I actually love Audible. That was a joke.
All right, we love you, Audible.
I've never had Blue Apron, so I don't know.
Blue Apron is also good.
But like back to Crunchyroll, like their streaming platform, they offer nothing new or like nothing that other more legal streaming platforms offer.
I mean, other than legality.
Yeah, I mean, like other than legality, of course.
Other
But
than
like,
people not wanting to break the law, and God forbid they want to support.
but their whole business model is just be good people, and that just doesn't work.
Well, and you know, this helps more stuff be made because you're putting money back into the industry instead of, you know.
I don't think it really does though. I don't think like Crunchyroll's money really gets back to the animators.
I mean, they have to buy the rights to. They have to buy the license to air the show, which gives the studio money, which lets the studio make more stuff.
I mean, to an extent, yeah, but that's still riding on the be a good Samaritan thing. Like my biggest issue is that there's no difference between Crunchyroll and
Don't say it.
another platform.
There you go. We're not. We're not talking. We're not promoting that.
Yeah.
Other
I
than
mean,
you know.
aside from the legality, like there's no difference because Crunchyroll doesn't recommend any shows like based on your watching habits. They don't do the thing that Netflix does where like you can have multiple accounts on the same account, multiple profiles, I should say. Like they don't do any of the like quality of life things that you should get with paying a subscription.
When I'm Josh. I want my streaming services to give me a hand job.
Wah. Eminem was better when his stuff was older.
Funny thing is, I don't like Eminem, old or new, so no real skin off my throat.
Fucking suck
Wasn't
my
actually
dick.
over there getting butthurt about Crunchyroll not, you know.
Keep
I don't
it,
want to pay $7 subscription.
keep it coming.
I don't want to contribute to the market. Just want to steal from it. Jesus Christ, Josh.
I didn't condone anything. I just said Crunchyroll needs to step its game up.
Did I leave my popcorn downstairs? 'Cause- oh, this is awesome. I love it when our overrated, underrated turns into arguments.
It's great.
I think this, Tashel, I think this has been a long time since Derek and I went at it.
I know I'm loving it. I think you guys haven't argued since the Hunter x Hunter thing. The
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter debacle of whatever month that was.
Me being right.
Of you going and fucking yourself.
Nah, I'm straight. Hunter x Hunter fans are pussies. Pull up. I'm with it.
They really love each other, folks. It's
You know,
trust
yeah.
me.
It's like
Derek's-
mutual, like a mutual agreed upon abuse, you know?
I'm pretty sure our like first words to each other were "fuck you."
Wow. Not that.
Not that.
No. I'm nice at first.
At first.
Yeah, I mean, then your parents left.
Don't ever say that, because that implies. All right, so moving
What
on.
does that imply, Derek? What does that imply?
So in gaming news, I guess Cyberpunk, is this out?
Yes.
No.
Cyberpunk
It's not.
Is it?
2077?
I don't think it is. I think it's just on the hype train right now.
Oh, is it? Okay, so what's funny is I've literally just been seeing a bunch of like
The past
these-
week I've been hearing a lot about it.
I've just been seeing all these memes like with Smash Brothers and all the other games like being destroyed, a la Infinity Wars, and this game just coming with the Infinity Gauntlet just destroying everything. I don't even know.
Oh
what
yeah,
this
this
game
doesn't
is
come
about.
out. This doesn't come out until 2019.
Oh well, then shut up, everybody.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Like June 2019, so next year.
Oh well, then shut up. Internet. Oh, it's
Like-
made by the Witcher people, so that's I think why everybody's going so nuts.
Yeah.
Hot take: Witcher's a bad game.
Ooh.
All right. Direct all hate mail to Josh at josh.josh@josh.com.
I've only played Witcher 1 and 2, and the control schemes were awful. I haven't.
You
played
also
Witcher
played
3.
Dark Souls with a controller, so I don't want to ever hear you talk about control scheme. Excuse me, you played Dark Souls with keyboard and mouse, and complained about the controls being bad,
No,
Josh.
not.
No,
In Josh's
no.
defense, I played The Witcher 3 and I didn't see the hype. So
okay.
I mean, as far as Witcher 1 and 2 controls wise, like it's fucking sluggish. Not that like it's the kind of things that playing with controller or keyboard and mouse won't change. It's just
I get it.
feels awful.
On
Josh,
another
you're gonna
note-
understand.
on another note with The Witcher, the person who I watched play The Witcher and played a little bit of it was like, "Oh, this is what Breath of the Wild wishes it was," and I didn't see it. So I didn't even think they're like similar games.
No, I have a friend who's a big fan of The Witcher and Breath of the Wild, and doesn't really make a comparison between the two.
What to say?
than-
Are they even alike? I didn't. See
I mean,
it.
in genre, yeah, but to my understanding, that's about it. But just because I'm gonna keep on beating this horse until like its ghost is dead, Josh. Anytime you have anything to say about third-person RPG control schemes, it's going in one ear and out the other to me. When you said you played Dark Souls with keyboard and mouse and complained about the controls being bad, that's your fault.
Fucking
It's like trying to play Tekken with a Guitar Hero guitar. Like,
people do it.
That sounds like a fun challenge, actually.
that's your fault, Josh. You're playing the game. I don't like to say someone's playing the game wrong because of their control preferences. You're playing Dark Souls wrong.
Fox only, no items. GameCube controller only.
Pull up with
Final
a-
Destination. Fun anecdote. I used to play Super Smash Brothers Brawl and the new one with a Wii remote.
I did too. I didn't even realize that was a thing until the internet. That people were like, "I knew he played again." So I play with both. Why not?
Weirdos.
Anyway. So yeah, I only brought that up because apparently
We have been
all
misinformed.
the game of the year nonsense has been on the
A game of
What?
next year.
What's come out this year that's in that contention?
Smash Brothers.
Well, that's
Well, that hasn't even come out yet.
yeah. Like that's what I'm like. What
Uh,
came out this year that people really liked?
Skyrim re-release.
Monster Hunter, I guess. Like
That's
in
not
terms of
gonna-
an actual candidate, I don't know.
That's not going to be a game of the year.
Yeah.
Far Cry 5.
Monster Hunter World
Far Cry
recently-
5.
Okay, they like Far Cry.
Game of God of War.
God of
Okay,
War.
yeah.
Spider-Man's supposed to be coming out this year.
All right, so
Battlefield 5.
Battlefield
no, I don't think
5.
that's gonna get it.
Well, probably not like at the big game awards, but
I would say Sea of
Octopath might.
Thieves, but they-
a lot of people
Okay,
really-
yeah, that's
all
fair.
Yeah, Octopath might be that kind of indie thing that wins everybody over. It won't win anything, but it'll be nominated for everything.
Right.
Wait, wasn't Octopath Square Enix though?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's like different in terms of its. There's not games like that just don't come out. Kingdom Hearts 3
Yeah.
is next year, so no.
Kingdom
it's
Hearts 3
not.
is always next year.
Let's be real.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is never.
Come on.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is always next year.
Yeah. I like that. It's always next year.
Does Red Dead 2 come out this year?
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey comes out this year.
I think it'll be Red Dead 2. Like Red Dead 2 and Spider-Man.
And Smash
And-
Brothers.
Fucking
Yeah.
console.
They won't give it to Smash Brothers.
games.
Probably won't give it, but it'll
I
definitely.
mean, you know, you'll get Red Dead 2 on PC in like 3 years.
I would mention Sea of Thieves, but that game's already dead.
Or the surprise hit, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
What was the Shaq game? The Shaq beat 'em up, Shaq Fu beat that come
Oh.
out this year? Or was it last year?
The
That
remake
was
of Shaq Fu.
Steam exclusive.
Yeah, there we go. I
Well,
think that's a shoe in.
I don't care what
That's-
anybody says. That's automatic game of the year.
That,
So
That's my Ig'rance podcast game of the year.
yeah,
We should do that. We should give out a game of the year.
that's a good idea. Actually, let's do that.
All
We should
right.
give out like the Ig'rance best of 2018 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
We won't remember that. We should write that down.
No, I will remember that. I love awards.
Yeah.
Award stuff. I love that. I promise you, I'll
Oh.
remember that.
No, we will. It'll happen. I don't know. Christmas might be a busy time for us, so we'll figure that out. But
That might be something for the new year.
yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Hitman 2 comes out this year.
What does?
Hitman 2.
Ooh.
We can barely contain our excitement. Can't you tell from our voices?
I like Hitman. You guys can.
No, I like Hitman.
Okay. I mean, Derek can still fuck off, but
Don't ever say that to me again.
No, never say that.
I'll fucking kill you. So I guess moving
do.
on, we should probably actually talk about stuff, huh? We're having fun, right?
Yeah.
that's what this is supposed to be about. We
Yeah.
have fun.
Hope you're having fun. Drink more water. It's healthy for you.
What's your name? Like Scott or some bullshit like that?
Be nice to Scott.
If you're not having fun, you should be drinking wine. So, or rum.
There you go. I had rum yesterday.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
I haven't
The
drank.
drink
was
Everclear.
extremely weak though. So
I haven't drank in like 3 weeks, so I'm kind of having
Ooh.
withdrawal here.
oh, that's not good.
I've had alcohol in the house for a few weeks. I just kind of haven't been drinking it.
Can you ship it over to Bermuda for me?
Can you ship alcohol? Yes.
I think. So.
Can you ship it across borders
I think. I don't
Yes.
in the mail?
know. That's a conversation off camera. I don't want to get us in any trouble.
Yeah. So next up, there was a Nintendo Indie Showcase
Yeah.
where they
did.
just like a bunch of indie games that are coming to the Switch. Which
What are you guys'
yeah.
thoughts about indie games?
I mean, I like it. I just think that I think that it's rare. They're just very niche, I guess. Obviously,
I like that they're calling them Nindies.
Indies.
I got some nindies for you. But
No.
Indies nuts
Oh, there it is.
Sorry
A lot
about
of the
that.
a lot of the Nintendo the Nindies are also like battle games, so they're party, play with your
Yeah.
friends kind of thing.
I saw, what was it, Towerfall or something like that? Was it Towerfall that I saw?
I mean, Towerfall is one of the games.
Yeah, and I like
I know,
Towerfall, so that's cool.
I was about to say something, but that might give too much information on the school that I go to.
Okay. But then I don't know why you even mentioned that, you fucking idiot. But
You fucking twat.
whoa. All right. I guess moving on from that. Um
Yeah,
no,
there
I think
wasn't-
that what were you saying, Tashel?
I was gonna say there wasn't anything in particular that stood out. I'm not gonna lie, that stood out to me because I don't really like have the time to play these small kind of games or whatever. But I am happy that Nintendo is embracing that market that I don't really think would get a lot of mainstream attention otherwise. Like a lot of these games, I think we'll see their audiences multiply because they'll be on a system that's doing well. Like
Right.
something like Undertale. I think we talked about this when it was first announced that it's coming to the Switch. A lot of people online are like, "Why is it going everywhere?" I'm like, but no, there are a lot of people that will not play Undertale because they're not into looking up stuff online. They need it in their face, and so if Undertale is on a shelf with other Nintendo Switch games,
Right.
like what's that? That looks interesting. So, yeah, I'm happy that more
And
people will be
I
able to
think
see
that,
stuff like that.
a lot of indie games are built in a way that like they kind of facilitate very well, like just playing for a little bit at a time and like I don't know, let's say like you're waiting on laundry or something like that, and like I play a lot of Isaac, and it's like, I have like 45 minutes until I have to go do something. I'll play like a game of Isaac, and I think a lot of indie games are in that same vein, and I think the Switch is a console that works very well for that. And I mean, that's kind of what a lot of it was built off of. Just play it and go do whatever, play it on the go, blah, blah, blah. So
Thankfully,
I'm
I
with
feel
it.
like they finally stopped trying to shove the 3DS as it's dying down everybody's throat. Well, not as it's dying, but as they should be trying to kill it.
Yeah. Nothing against, we've had this conversation. Nothing against the 3DS. Phenomenal console. Extremely underrated, I think. Like, I think in like 10 years, people are going to go back and be like, this thing was amazing, wasn't it? Like, people already think it's amazing, but I think it's going to do nothing but get better with time.
It's gonna become the GameCube.
As
Yeah.
a lot of Nintendo consoles seem to do.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the N64 was looked at as a black console when it first came out.
I made like $300 selling my N64 and like 4 other games for it. So
Yep.
There you go.
yeah, it's
Anyway, yeah, it's been a very slow news week for games and stuff because,
It's the summer.
yeah,
Fortnite.
that's all I've been hearing about, honestly. And I have two young nephews, so they
Oh,
love
and they
Fortnite.
enjoy playing there.
They love Fortnite.
I want to fucking blacklist Fortnite on my news feed, but I can't do that.
Why don't you go, talk to Mr. Fortnite and ask him to stop his game?
Mr. Fortnite, can you please stop swarming me with news, Mr. Fortnite?
Where, Mr. Fortnite? I don't want to see this on my news feed.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry, Josh. We're like 30 minutes in, and I've been going really hard on you.
I wasn't going hard on you, Josh. I
was.
I just like that we call him Mr. Fortnite.
But I guess, yeah, moving on from games, film and TV, we have stuff to talk about.
Can we talk about these other three things and then end with
the
on
first
top?
one? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, they have this new. Here's a rumor. There's two rumors actually in this thing that we're talking about. So the first one is that there's this new series by the Avatar: The Last Airbender people about Avatar Kyoshi that's in development.
Boo.
Josh, will you like to explain that, boo?
Boo! I don't want fucking after Avatar Korra and the fact that they just fucking deleted the Avatar line. Why the fuck do I want to see anything else from the Avatar line? It has no consequence on anything.
Um,
It's a prequel.
I mean, you know,
I want to see it.
Well,
Also, Avatar Korra wasn't that good.
I will say for me, I think the people that did this series, the Avatar franchise, universe, whatever, I think they're very talented. I like this.
I agree with that.
I like this world that they've created. I like their style and all that. I'm not gonna lie, I'll have to kind of agree with Josh in that I don't really care about the Avatar stuff anymore. I think I'd like to know what else in this world can they do, like outside of the adventures of the avatars. Like, what else is going on in this world? I like the way they write and the way they world build. So,
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite series. But they dropped the ball with Korra, and then I don't want to see what they'll do with Kyoshi.
I will argue though. I think Korra suffered a lot from executive meddling.
Oh,
Like a
for
lot of
sure.
the problems I think were on Nickelodeon, unfortunately. Because
Which is weird that
the second season of Korra is garbage, and that's all
it was a
Nickelodeon's
mess.
fault.
Yeah. Which is weird why like networks try to do that when a show is already like successful. Like, why do you wait until after like a show is already established? Why did you wait until after Avatar had already established itself to really try to start sticking your fingers in everything and telling people what to do when these guys have already proven that they know what to do? You know, like
Yeah.
So I'm looking this up, and as far as I can see, I can only see that there's novels that they're writing novels about Kyoshi, not an actual show.
Right. Well,
we'll
like I
see.
said, it's just a rumor, so
yeah.
it might not. It might just be rumblings.
And
The other thing is that the writer of, one of the writers from the Avatar franchise has gone off to go. I just deleted the tab. What is it called? Dragon Prince. They have this show coming out on Netflix in a couple of weeks. And you guys didn't like the art style.
No, it's a like 2D, 3D weird love baby.
15 frames
that
a
no one
second.
wanted. Apparently 15 frames a second.
A lot of people on my Facebook were like going nuts over it. So I'll see what people are saying when it comes out. If the
If people watch
storytelling
it, I
is
don't
good,
know.
maybe I'll give it a shot. I've kind of been disenchanted from watching shows.
This guy.
Yeah. The Netflix era has kind of ruined me wanting to watch because I just see 10 episodes and each one is 20 minutes. It's like, oh, there's so much time. I can't just sit down and just watch something like that. Like, I have to know it's for a purpose if I'm doing that.
And we did it this time. Well,
We did.
they did.
Yeah, I did. And Josh did as well.
I did like half.
Don't really blame you. But here's another rumor. So unless, did you guys have anything else to say about the Avatar thing?
No, I'm done.
No.
Okay, so there's another rumor that the spin-off Star Wars movies are being canceled and Rian Johnson's trilogy has been canceled, which honestly I don't really remember Rian Johnson's trilogy ever being confirmed by Disney. It might have been, I just don't really remember it. I always felt like that was a rumor as well.
Yeah, I don't. And like, I've seen a lot of clickbaity stuff saying, "You're stupid if you think that Rian Johnson's trilogy is canceled, you fucking idiots." So I don't know if it is, but like, definitely Disney has said that like they're gonna ease up a little bit with Star Wars stuff.
Good.
Thank
I
God.
think obviously, not I think, but obviously, you know, the reception from The Last Jedi and Solo, Disney has realized that people do actually, in fact, care about the integrity of Star Wars.
Particularly The Last Jedi. I feel like
Yeah.
Solo literally just came and went. Like, nobody's
Yeah.
talking about that movie. But to this day, there are still arguments about The Last Jedi. And I feel like as time goes on, the movie just ages worse and worse and worse.
Right. I feel like with I guess Disney thought they could do with Star Wars what they do with Marvel, where I kind of think Disney's under the mentality of we can just put it out and they'll eat it up. But I think that one difference is that Marvel didn't really have an identity before Disney. Like each Marvel movie, like Spider-Man felt very different from X-Men, which felt
yeah.
very different from Daredevil, which felt very different. Yeah, that kind of thing. And Disney gave these Marvel movies an identity, so people now know what to expect when before they didn't. Like I guess Disney got to set the parameter for what Marvel movies were. But Star Wars obviously it's just old. It's older than all of us.
Marvel
Star
also
Wars.
has the benefit of having a guy like Kevin Feige to
Right.
oversee it. No disrespect to Kathleen Kennedy, even though I know a lot of people on the internet would like to roast her alive for some reason, but I just don't think she is the person to head something like Star Wars. Like I don't think
Which is
she's
huge.
equipped
Like
for
again,
it.
that's just a lot of responsibility to put on someone. Like
I think she'd be better off doing something like a Marvel or going over to DC and handling that. Like Star Wars is a little. It's Hollywood's first big franchise, so
and it's one of the biggest franchises in anything ever. Like that's just such a
has to
tall
be treated
ask to
differently,
be
yeah.
expected to deliver on every single front. When most of the like in her defense, most Star Wars movies don't deliver. Like
Nope.
before Disney got it. So like
And I'm forever of the opinion that the Star Wars universe is only grand in like the scope. The storytelling is so small. They just do the same stories over and over and over.
Right.
And every time they try to go out of it, it doesn't work because it doesn't feel like Star Wars. So,
which partially feeds into why Star Wars can't be as I guess like can't come out as frequently as Marvel movies do because the I don't know, the grandeur is just so much is lost so much more. Like Star Wars should feel like an event, and I
that's
feel
what I'm
like
telling you. These
most
people
people
are
are
just
just of that opinion.
these people are just greedy. They should put all this creative energy into the TV shows and just leave the movies
Right.
as they are.
No, I think that like the TV shows would be a great area for it because the Star Wars fans are gonna watch it regardless. Like hardcore Star Wars fans are gonna look at whatever Star Wars is made. But I don't know. I still think that there's just such a difference between like going to the movies to see part one in the new Star Wars trilogy and watching Rebels at home.
Yeah. Or playing one of the video games.
Right. And they definitely have their place. Like I enjoy the Star Wars video games, like what they add to the universe and Rebels and the Clone Wars and all that. But they're not. But I just feel like the movie should be treated with much more care and respect for the franchise.
What say you, Josh?
Oh no, yeah, I agree pretty much everything you guys have said.
Thanks.
I mean, I have nothing else to input.
Well, another speaking of Disney and all of them, let's talk about this other ridiculous thing that they're trying. So Black Panther came out in like February. Well, of course it did because it was Black History Month.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose. And now Disney is really, really, really trying to push Black Panther with this Best Picture nomination thing.
No.
Just no.
Like, nah, man. Nah, this ain't it. It's a good movie, but like, I feel like the Best Picture category exists for great movies, which Black Panther is not. And that's
I
no
think-
discredit to Black Panther, but like,
I think Black Panther is a great movie of its genre.
yeah, I agree with that. It's a great action movie and it's a great superhero movie. But
But it's not a great movie overall.
comparing it to, I don't know, I just feel like there's a discredit to actual Oscar movies when you say that Black Panther is on the same level of those in terms of like quality. In terms of impact, I definitely think that Black Panther has a leg up over most Oscar movies.
Oh, it'll probably be the most influential movie of the year, but
Right, but in terms of just stupid, pretentious, artsy, mumbo jumbo. I just don't think Black Panther's up to snuff with. I don't know. I haven't seen the Oscar movies for this year, so maybe it will be.
Yeah,
But to
right.
me,
This might
that
be
would be
another awful
more.
year.
Yeah, that would be more of an issue with the Oscar movies of this year than it is how good Black Panther is.
Yeah. I was very disenchanted with the Oscar nominations from last year, so who knows? Black Panther might end up being the best movie of the year. So
And Disney chill out. Like not next year, but the year after, they're announcing the
best popular
Marvel
movie.
Oscar movie category, the best Marvel movie category. So if you don't get one this year, you're ringing for 2019.
Right. But yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much just speculation and stuff. But most of us, well, all of us got a chance to look at Matt Groening's new series, Disenchantment, which is kind of
Yeah.
like The Simpsons and Game of Thrones had like a not very funny or entertaining baby.
I mean,
That's a good
Game
way
of
of putting it.
Thrones.
And Josh and I watched all 10 episodes, and Derek got up to episode 5. So let's talk
Five or
about
four
it.
or five.
4 or
Yeah.
5. Yeah. Well, let's talk about it.
Do we want to go through like individual, like the first 5 individual episodes, or do we just want to talk about it as a whole?
We can talk about every episode. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember the first couple episodes because I think the last 3 are so much better than every other episode in the season. But
Yeah.
And I only watched the first 5, so I haven't seen the last 3.
You'll have to refresh us on what those 5 episodes are because I don't remember them individually.
The first ones.
so
Yeah.
the first
So the first one is just the pilot.
yeah, it's how everybody
Yeah.
meets each other, and we are introduced to Elfo and Lucy, I think is his name. Yeah, Lucy the
Elfo,
demon,
yeah,
and Bean.
Her fucking name is Bean.
Bean, which I thought would be funnier than it is. I
No,
can actually say
it's-
that about a lot of things in this show.
sounds a little flaccid.
So, yeah, as a pilot, I guess I'll start off. As a pilot, I think it's really lame. Like, if we were not gonna review this show on our channel, I wouldn't have kept watching. Like, I was not. I didn't laugh once. I thought the art was uninspired. The colors weren't very interesting. I didn't think the
It
designs
looked a little
were
cheap in some
interesting.
places in the pilot, I think.
All the chase
the
scenes
animation.
were really lazy looking.
Yeah.
I liked the voice acting. Like right off the bat, the only character who I wasn't very impressed by was Bean, but I liked everybody else's voice. It felt like watching Futurama. Literally, listen to the same voices come out of these new characters' mouths. But what did you think of the first episode, Josh?
I think the first episode spells out all the problems that the show has.
That's a good point.
Fucking the comedy is very. I would say it's hit or miss, but it's like, it's hit or I mean it's either miss or it's like, oh, I kind of touched it. Because I mean there was nothing that I really laughed at hard.
No, I didn't laugh hard at anything. I laughed out loud at one joke and I chuckled a couple times, but throughout all 10 episodes, I did not laugh hard at anything.
Yeah, and the biggest issue I think with the show is that they focus on Bean's alcoholism too much. Like most of the shows are just either her getting drunk in the bar or drunk on the street, and there's no variation between that.
What did you
And
think?
I think that
Sorry.
I was just gonna repeat what I said, that I think that just spells out the issues of the show.
Right. What did you think, just in general, of the pilot, Derek?
One gripe I have is that I think that Futurama and The Simpsons, like they're different shows, but one common ground between them is I think that the world around them, like all the people in it, and just like I guess the supporting cast more so than anything else, seems very entertaining. And all of the supporting cast that we were introduced to in Disenchantment in the first episode they all. I feel like the show. I'm gonna expand more upon this once we talk about like our overall thoughts about everything in it. But I feel like the show, from what I've seen, obviously I haven't seen the last half of it, and apparently that's where it gets better. Which
Not that last half, the last 3 episodes.
okay, so the last 3 episodes, which I'm not gonna feel any kind of way about my opinion right now, because what I have to watch 7 episodes of the show, and they're each 30,
Yeah.
so I have to watch 210 minutes of the TV show before it gets good. Like that's not my fault.
That was your biggest gripe with Hunter x Hunter.
I mean, that's my gripe with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and tell me that no, man. Once you watch, the 8th arc, then things really start to pick up. Like, nigga, what? No, do that shit from the beginning. But yeah, I feel like the supporting cast was just. I get what they're going for some of them, like the king. I don't know. I feel like the king really should have been a lot more entertaining than he actually is.
You got
Maybe it's
John
'cause it's-
DiMaggio.
Yeah, maybe that's why, because it's John DiMaggio, and like Bender off the rip knocks it out of the park. He's hilarious. The King's okay.
The king is very flaccid also.
Yeah.
Like he has parts where I think there's specific parts in the episode where he's about to go off and then he just stops.
Yeah.
And that explains the entire character.
That explains the entire show, kinda.
Yeah.
What I said, I think the king would have done him well for him to either be extremely over the top, unlikable, or just make him a big softy, because he's nothing at this point. Like, he doesn't have actually, like I said about most of the characters in the show, they don't really have a personality type. Like, they've got an archetype, but like they're not really what they think they are. Like with Lucy, for example, we were talking about this earlier. I don't really get what Lucy's character is, because he's got like this cigarette and he's kind of like got this see, but he's not. And then he's a demon, so he could have this trickster thing, and he kind of does, but he doesn't, so he's not.
Yeah. So of the characters, Lucy is my favorite. I mean, that's not saying much
It's
because I
not.
don't care for the show that much, but like Lucy has the most direction as far as a character goes, I think. Except his purpose for being in the show is
Zero.
like they state his purpose and I say, okay, but she would have done all of this without you.
him, exactly.
Right. I think
Which-
that's
It's funny because I do think they think he's much more entertaining than he is, because Eric Andre, bless his heart, he's like, I mean, it almost feels like he's ad-libbing at points in that, he's like almost trying to pull like a genie from Aladdin. It just doesn't work. The character's just not interesting enough.
They think he was supposed to be the Bender of the show.
If that's what they wanted, they failed epically.
not even close.
I kind of got
can-
Stewie from Family Guy a little bit.
Yeah, I think Stewie is.
Well, he's like, I hate to give Family Guy these props. He's like a less funny Stewie. Well, early season Stewie.
Mm-hmm.
He's about as funny as Stewie is currently.
I mean, but like with the smoking and the binge drinking
Yeah,
and the
Yeah.
and the evil personality, he was definitely supposed to be a Bender, but he's not.
yeah.
But Bender had the foil of being incompetent. From what I've seen so far of Lucy, he doesn't seem to be like particularly stupid.
He doesn't do anything, so you don't know.
Right, I have no idea what his personality
I mean,
is.
kind
or
of
his
even
intelligence,
Bean. I
so
don't like
I
the
don't
only
really know what he can do.
like the only stupid person is really Elfo, but that's more obliviousness than
Okay.
stupidity.
Can we talk about, because I don't even really think I went in on Elfo when we were talking off camera, but I think Elfo is the worst character, because
Yes.
to me, I don't get it. Like, when we first introduced to him, his thing is he doesn't want to be around a world that's nothing but happy and la 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 la. So I almost get the impression, and then he's like going off with Kissy and all that kind of stuff, which could have been funny. And then he comes to our world and he's just like, I'm Elfo and filled with milk. I'm like, well, you
Right,
should have stayed where you were.
I feel like Lucy, Elfo needs Lucy more than Bean does, I guess, to break out of their shell, quote unquote. Not really a shell, but
But why did Alpha want to leave that place if he's still like that
right,
anyway? Like,
right.
he doesn't
Like
embrace the stuff, the bad stuff, and he does at first,
Right.
and then he very quickly becomes the you shouldn't do that, and that's
I
the
feel-
joke.
I feel like if Elfo and Lucy were combined into one character,
Yeah,
that would work
like
better.
a princess who lived in a almost old school Disney world.
And Elfo's like, I'm trying
yeah.
to get buck wild out here.
Yeah,
Like if Elfo told Lucy, hey, you should steal your mom's drugs and get high. Like then
And-
I would understand it.
And if Bean wasn't already a delinquent,
right.
like
Yeah.
the very first scene that we see of Bean is she's gambling and drinking.
And beating people up.
Yeah,
Let's not forget the fact that she literally beat somebody up in the first scene.
like she's gambling, drinking, and she's cheating at gambling, and then she just beats the shit out of people. Like, all right, we know that what this character's about, and then the next scene we get her personal demon, which is supposed to make her evil, but like she's already evil.
Exactly. She didn't need Lucy. He is, to me, he is the most useless character. I mean,
Like-
Elfo is my least favorite, but Lucy is the most useless.
Yeah.
Lucy should have either been an angel, or
That could have been funny. Then we wouldn't need Elfo.
Yeah, Elfo was the angel, or Bean should have been a stereotypical princess.
Exactly. She should have been like the princess from, what's that Disney movie, Enchanted, where she comes to our world and she's like, oh, filled with milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or if you wanted to make her a badass, you could have just made her Leela.
Which she kind of is.
Kind of, but
Kind
like
of, but
less competent.
She's like an angsty. She's like Leela when she was a teenager. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if Leela was like that. I think she was actually a nerd when she was a teenager.
but at least I don't know. I feel like Leela had more of a reason to because she had one eye, which
Yeah, she was.
when you think about it in the contect of Futurama, it's like there are literal aliens. Like I
but
don't
there
think
are
we'll
no
ever-
aliens with one eye.
I guess.
So
Stupid
racism
fucking
still
universe.
exists even in the
There we
future
go.
with millions of different species.
They're cool with black people. They just don't like people with one eye.
One eye. There you go. It's in our instinct to hate on somebody.
Nose dang.
But there's none of that kind of stuff. Like, we're joking about that, but that's kind of like the level that Futurama gets at with its intelligence and its commentary. There's none of that in this.
Yeah. And
At most, it commentates on Game of Thrones.
Which is weird. Like,
Like it's Game of Thrones is way past its prime.
The Simpsons is not a parody of The Honeymooners. It was inspired by it, but it's not just like, here's why The Honeymooners are stupid. Or Futurama is not just a parody of, I don't know, insert one science fiction. It's just a parody of science fiction in general. I don't know why this couldn't have just been a parody of fantasy.
but that's another complaint I have. Like from what I've seen, this fantasy world is not too far. It's not that different from like our world.
It's fantasy only in setting.
Yeah, like they don't take advantage of it, which I feel like Futurama's version of the future feels like Futurama's version of the future.
Yeah.
Disenchantment's version of fantasy world seems like this is normal
Modern
medieval stuff, but I
fantasy.
guess we have demons and orcs. I guess.
I think my biggest complaint, like just overall, because I don't think we need to do episode by episode.
No, yeah, that's too much.
I think my biggest complaint with this show is that it just kind of feels half cooked. Like, I feel like some old guy sat down and just came up with some ideas, and nobody stopped them and was like, "Hey, let's give that a second thought." Or when they wrote up a draft of a script, I don't feel like anybody stopped them and was like, "That's not really that funny. Maybe let's like try to make this a little bit more current." It almost feels like this show was written for the 90s.
It feels like a first draft, really, like in every sense. Like
Even Bean's character, like, I don't know, like, I
yeah,
feel
she
like
doesn't seem finished.
they think oh, look, we've created, get it? Because princesses are usually all cute and pretty, and she's not. And it's like, well, Princess Jasmine is just sitting there with her hands on her hips, like, but
Subverting the genre.
1992, so, or if you want to be like, but this is more crass, Shrek. Hello.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. Like, Shrek is a subversion of. I don't want to get too deep into the subversion argument because most people don't know what that word actually means. Most people think this is stupid that people do that, so let's do it instead. Is subversion, and it's like, no.
This show kind
It's
of
not.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, Disenchantment is just a bad Shrek.
It is a bad Shrek. Once I said that out loud, I'm like, she is Fiona. Like, she's a drunk Fiona.
Yeah.
She's less likable, too, which is unbelievable, because Fiona, to me, was always the weakest part of Shrek.
Oh, for sure.
And Shrek feels more fantasy than Disenchantment does.
That's true. There's only one reference that I can think of off the top of my head to something kind of fantastical, and that's, I don't think you've gotten this far, Derek, but the Hansel and Gretel thing.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
And even that, it's like, I mean, okay. This is just kind of out of place for this show. To me, it felt like they were trying to do like and this is the moment where the show gets dark. And it's like, well, I mean, the girl's been killing characters this whole show. Like, you can't be like, oh, well, they're Hansel and Gretel. So I'll just spoil. Well, I don't know if I should spoil this for you. It's actually kind of the best part.
Is
of
it a
that
good episode?
No, but it's
Okay,
the
then.
best part of that episode.
Oh, well, just don't.
Yeah, they do something with Hansel and Gretel, and they try to like make them seem like really bad people. And it's like, but I mean, our main characters suck too. Like, there's really no.
She has
good
a
people
literal
in this
demon
world.
following her around, and they unleashed, like, what, I think it was in the 3rd or the 4th episode, they unleashed a horde of demons onto the world, and we're like, oops.
Yeah.
Was anybody else rooting for the priest guy?
I like the priest guy.
I was wondering why they tried to save Lucy in the first
Me
place.
too.
Yeah.
Because wasn't
Bean was kind of mad at Lucy also.
yeah, Bean didn't want. So Lucy was introduced as kind of the butt of the joke, the what's it called, slapstick conduit.
And then,
But
the Elfo was
the next
like,
ep-
nah, help my drink. I got
Yeah.
this.
And then for no reason, they just started liking each other.
So, okay, something that the show tried, and it just hit me, and it just didn't work. I think the first episode when Bean has that throwaway line about not having any friends, I think that is supposed to be why she latches on to these two people. But,
Lucy
They
does not
didn't-
want to be Bean's friend.
right, and then
Elfo
just
does,
kind of wants
but
to...
Elfo just wants to be friends.
I don't think he wants to be friends, though. I don't even think his intentions are pure.
Yeah.
I think our
Can we talk?
first introduction to Elfo kind of shows that he's the sexual deviant. Like, I like that they are trying to make him seem more innocent and la la la. Not really. I mean, the first thing he does is ruin their economy so that he can kiss Kissy, who is heavily implied to be like a whore. Like this whole, oh, he's goody goody, it didn't work because that's not what you introduce him as. It's almost like these people did not deliberate on details like that together, and so the first couple episodes the characters are all over the place.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying, Josh?
I was gonna say, can we talk about the shadowy organization that's supposed to be like controlling things behind the scene?
Oh, you mean the thing that goes nowhere?
Yeah, that like literally went nowhere.
Yeah, they throw that out the window.
What, three-eyed dude?
Well, like no, not 3-eyed dude.
The two people
well, I mean,
with the
yeah,
fire? Or...
they threw the 3-eyed dude.
Yeah.
They also throw that out the window because like, what the fuck?
Yep.
There was a scene where they were talking about conspiring against the king, and then
It's an
that
orgy.
goes nowhere. Yeah. And then
Except
what's it called?
apparently those two are supposed to be lovers, the three-eyed guy and the wizard, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people who like gave Bean Lucy.
Right.
I like them
characters-
from what I've seen of them so far.
They don't go anywhere, just letting you know,
Okay.
Derek. They're pretty much like they actually feel, I said this to you earlier, they feel like they came out of like an abridged series. They're so kind of out of place here. There's no other humor like that in the show.
They're also just as useless as Lucy.
Oh, totally.
Because, like, they're here and, like, all right, well, they're doing some things, and then the thing that they were planning happened, and the show ends.
Except I think that is just them being arrogant that this will get a second season, because I think they're going to try to build up to something. But we're judging it based off of what we have, and you're right, it doesn't go anywhere. There's absolutely no payoff. There's not even, to me, I don't care what happens with them, because the thing that they really hyped up at the end is way more interesting. I want to know what's going on with that plot.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Which I wish I could talk about, because it actually is a pretty interesting ending, but...
Next week we can.
Yeah.
I mean, it also, to be fair, that also came out of fucking nowhere.
It did, and that's why I said to you, it could have started off with this, because, again, I don't want to spoil it, because I like being surprised by it, personally, so I won't spoil it for you, Derek, but it is something that they've been talking about all season, and I kept saying to myself, I really kind of would, I guess, want to know more about that than what's going on, because this just feels like random, this happens, then that happens, then that happens. Like, I'm not watching a show of this. Like, this kind of storytelling does not work in a Netflix binge, for me, at least.
Yeah, that's actually the biggest issue. It's a serialized show trying to be an episodic show.
Yeah, you gotta pick one, because when you did the serialized thing, it's not entertaining to me.
Because it's not, the serialized thing relies so much on individual episodes knocking it out of the park, which the show clearly doesn't do.
Yeah. Or at least just be funny. Like, if the episode premises aren't that great, if it was hilarious, I wouldn't care. It's not.
Like, so there's this one joke that they did twice that, like, I don't get it at all. It's a fantasy setting, and, like, they were trying to do carrier pigeons and shit, but they used turkeys instead. Yeah. Like, that's exactly how the joke went. It's like, hey, let's do carrier pigeons. But they're turkeys.
And, like, there's the one young writer in the room who's like,
Okay.
Like 9 writers are like, that's fucking it, bro. You are on it.
That's a funny joke. It's a turkey and the gobble gobble, right?
And the intern is like, whatever you say, I guess.
Like, I get paid anyway, so.
They're like, the kids like the lull random humor, right?
We're past, thank God we're past that sense.
There is some low random humor at the end.
Sure.
That's kind of funny, though. Which makes me wish the show was more just like, wee! If it's going to be like that. Like, just be nuts. Like Futurama.
Yeah, the show just doesn't. That's my biggest issue. The show commits to nothing, and it's again, the show feels like it's like 60-70% of a show, but that 30% that it's missing is very crucial. Like, it doesn't have an identity, I guess.
It almost feels like somebody's first show. I can't believe this is Matt Groening's show. Like,
that's the other thing. Like, Matt Groening and David Cohen, like, these are two people who are very versed in this kind of thing.
Yeah. It's almost like they've done this once or twice and been super successful.
Yeah, like, Matt Groening, obviously, I'd imagine everyone knows who he is. And David Cohen was the showrunner for 7 and 8 of The Simpsons, I think.
And he also was one of the co-developers of Futurama.
Futurama. He was a producer and writer and director for, I think, all of the Futurama movies.
And the episode that he writes of this show is, to me, the least funny of the whole season, which is sad.
So that's confusing to me, because it's like, people should know what they're doing, but it kind of has that it has an early Simpsons vibe of, it doesn't,
awkward.
Yeah, it doesn't know what it is yet.
Maybe season 2 will be better.
It probably will be. I'd put money that it'll be better, because he'll listen to the criticism. They're actually pretty good at that. But I'll say this: I think the first season of The Simpsons has more charm than this.
I agree. And I think the first season of The Simpsons, part of the reason why I think it has more charm is it has more of a point.
Right.
You
it's
know?
It's not like laugh out loud funny, but I feel like there's heart There's like the characters are likable, and I want to see these people be okay at the end. I don't care what
Right.
happens to these people in this show. I don't
And
like
again,
anybody.
I think the first season of The Simpsons could kind of ride on the back of being like, I guess commentary on other like it worked because it was in a sense playing on a lot of the tropes of dysfunctional family TV shows because family shows were the most popular thing on TV in the 80s and 90s.
Which is funny because if this show is trying to be like, well, no, but Game of Thrones is the most popular.
You're too
show,
late.
But it's only one Game of Thrones.
A-
There's not a
and-
culture of Game of Thrones. It's
Yeah,
just one.
Game of Thrones is still wildly popular, but it's not. In 2015, you got it. I couldn't go a day without hearing anything about Game of Thrones. But now,
Should have done it when South Park did it.
yeah.
South Park's parody is actually a better parody than this is.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
again-
just 3 episodes.
You can't just parody. This is one
And a
show.
game.
Like
And a
Game
game.
of Thrones is big, but it's not that big.
Not enough to make a whole show parodying it.
It's like if Rick and Morty stayed a Back to the Future parody. Like,
Right. Exactly. That's actually that's a good analogy because Rick and Morty took the premise and expanded on it. This one doesn't.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, the 3 episodes at the end are very Game of Thrones. Like, that's probably why it's good because now they're actually starting to use the inspiration for something.
Yeah, the fantasy setting is actually doing something other than making a bunch of drinking and drug jokes.
Or, hey, we're police, but we ride donkeys instead of cop cars.
Which,
Okay.
if there were other funny jokes, I would appreciate that as just being charming. But that is. The joke.
But it feels like this
That-
is.
that's the joke of the scene.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I guess overall, grade 4, if we want to.
Thumbs down.
Are we doing? Wow. Are we doing like numbers or what's up?
Let's give whatever we want.
Okay, I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
You give it a thumbs down, Josh.
Yeah.
Um,
Thumbs down out of 10.
I would give it watch the last 3 episodes out of 10.
And the overall.
So a 3 out of
Ig'rance-
10.
The overall Ig'rance grade that it gets is an apple out of broccoli. So
There you go. I'll say this. I think
It gets a turkey out of pigeons.
this will be something that I think we should revisit in the 2nd season because I
I
have a
agree.
feeling it'll get better. Josh
Look
agrees
at
as
that.
well.
we had an
Yes.
actual conversation about like a show, something all of us had seen, and
That was new.
yeah. All right, I'm proud of us.
Me too.
we didn't rip each other to shreds.
We actually agreed.
Yeah.
It's easy to hate on something that's mediocre. So
Yeah.
It's true.
So I guess we can move on to
Yep.
And I actually think we agree with the internet too, because I don't think the internet was too enchanted with this show either.
I didn't see people up in arms on either side about it. Like everyone who
Just
I
kinda
saw
flew
who
under the
saw
radar.
it were like, yeah, it was what it was, I guess.
I will say I disagree. The AV Club gave it a B minus. I think that's way too high.
That's too much. No.
And TV Guide said upon reviewing the last 3 episodes, he thought that pays it off. I disagree. I don't think the last 3 episodes are good enough to make up for the other ones. Like
No,
they're-
you can't do that.
They're good. Like I said, that would have been a better starting point, but it's still not.
The last 3 episodes feel completely disconnected from the rest of the series.
Exactly. Like, I agree. It feels like a different show. So yeah, I give it a meh.
Yeah, it's if you're a fan of like The Simpsons and Futurama, like a hardcore fan,
Yeah, you should watch it just
out,
because.
out of respect. But
Bless you. If you're like a
thank you.
casual,
TV fan,
I don't know,
Yeah,
a fan of just animated comedy, this might not be for you.
I might say wait until next year, and
Yeah, because I this isn't funny. So
if next year like it picks back up from where the last 3 episodes left off, then I might recommend that you go back and check out the first season. But
maybe, or just skip.
Just watch
watch
the-
the first episode and the last 3,
yeah,
if that. Maybe just watch the last 3. But yeah, and if you're a snob, you can just skip it altogether because the show doesn't even seem like it'll.
Doesn't do enough.
Yeah. If you're
It's a Netflix show.
Yeah, if you're a Rick and Morty, every show needs to be the best thing ever. Don't go watch this.
Yep. Shots. Shebang bang.
In the hippity hop. All right, so that is it for our what's in the news. Let's go over into our Ig'rance segment where we just kind of BS. Yeah, we just talk about whatever.
Well,
Like we haven't already been doing that.
That's true. But this stuff is much less relevant than, except for the last topic, but we'll get into that. So I want to pose a question to you guys. We're all fairly big Dragon Ball Z people. I mean, we like to riff on it, but I think we all like it, right?
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Except for Super.
no, Super doesn't exist.
No, we're just talking Dragon Ball Z.
Or Dragon
Okay.
Ball.
Oh.
Or even GT. I mean, nobody likes GT, but in my mind, when I say Dragon Ball, I mean Dragon Ball Z,
Okay.
or Dragon Ball GT. Super to me is its own thing. I know Super has made GT non-canon, but in my mind, Super is non-canon because it's nonsense.
Super was written by the original person, whereas GT wasn't.
Yeah, but Super sucks. So,
I mean, you're not wrong.
and GT to me is just like that's a part of my childhood. It reminds me of Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic. It's awful, but like it's I grew up with it, so it's a part
Right.
of the lore. Anyway, so I guess my question is, what is you guys' favorite saga from the franchises? I'm including Dragon Ball if you want to include something, which I know is rare. Most people from our age prefer Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball.
I mean, I'd rather watch Dragon Ball Z. I think Dragon Ball is a better made show, but what's my favorite saga?
I can start
there was,
us
like-
off since I
and
posed the question.
yeah.
So my favorite saga, it might shock some people, but my favorite saga is actually the red ribbon thing from Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Because I think that was when the show first took its turn from comedic to more action oriented. Because the tournament saga before that did it, but I think this was when the stakes actually first started to get raised, and Goku was doing stuff on his own, and I think that's when the show really started
Krillin
to
died for the
catch
first
its-
time.
Huh?
Krillin died for the first time.
Did he? I don't think he died
No, not
until
in the Red
Piccolo.
Ribbon. Yeah.
I think Piccolo was the
Oh,
first person
yeah.
to kill him.
Yeah, Piccolo did kill him.
But yeah, that would to me this was before the show started just becoming a I can just get stronger and beat the villain, even though that is kind of how they beat Tao. But generally, I think it's more of a outsmarting people, and it has interesting characters, and yeah, that if I'm saying from Dragon Ball, that's my favorite. Like the whole franchise, that's probably my favorite in retrospect. But from Dragon Ball Z, I like just nostalgia wise, I just like the Boo saga. Because Boo was, even though it's the worst saga of Dragon Ball Z, don't get me wrong, it's probably my favorite because I think Boo is the most fun of the villains. And it's just nonsense. And I like it because it's crazy. And it just feels like Toriyama just having fun again. Because I think Cell and Frieza took themselves very seriously. Fine, if that's what you're going to do with your show. But Boo just reminds me of Toriyama having fun again. So
I think I'm with that. I think what's it called? The Red Ribbon. I don't know. I just really like Dragon Ball, and weirdly enough, I don't feel like people talk about it as much as they should. I mean, I
Most
guess
people
because
haven't
Big
seen
Brother is Dragon
Dragon
Ball
Ball.
Z, which is like
it's the popular,
You know.
good-looking one, but Dragon
Yeah.
Ball is the much, much smarter one and much more talented one.
mine is probably the Frieza saga, which I feel like is it's a pretty common pick.
That or Cell.
Yeah, but I think the thing I like about the Frieza saga, like one thing you said about how the Buu saga had its own bit of fun in it, I feel like the Frieza saga did too, much more so than the Cell saga, because the Ginyu Force are
Oh, forgot about that. I'm not gonna lie, I never found them funny when I was a kid.
Oh, I don't know. But as an adult looking back on it,
Oh,
I'm
now
like,
they're
this
hilarious.
is fucking stupid. And it's amazing. So I think that's mine, because it has it has breathing room, I guess. Because like when we are introduced to Dodoria and Zarbon, things seem kind of serious. Like, oh shit.
Dodoria.
Despite what Dragon Ball Z Abridged has done.
Dodoria.
But like things seem very serious at first. It's like, oh, these guys are really strong, huh? You just
When I was a
chewing
kid,
cheeks.
I used to have these weird nightmares about being chased down by Frieza's henchmen. I always thought that was just a scary thought. Like, what would you do
yeah.
if something like that was chasing you down?
I just give up. Take me. You got it.
I mean, they
I'm
kill
done.
kids, so they don't care.
Yeah.
As a
And
kid, you never see kids get hurt, so Dragon
Dragon
Ball Z
Ball
was
Z
like, oh
did.
no, we blow them up. So
and then, obviously the arc starts to take itself seriously. Krillin dies again.
again, it's like the third time he dies.
Cool moments. We get to see Goku turned into a Super Saiyan. It's
That
just-
is a highlight.
Yeah. I think the ending is kind of a bit much.
5 minutes until Namek is destroyed. 60 episodes later.
Yeah, but no, it's my favorite arc. And Frieza, I was for the longest time into Shell's camp where like my favorite DBZ arc was the Buu saga, but going back and watching the Frieza saga again, I'm with it.
Oh, I'm sure from like a writing stamp, which I know the bar is very low with Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
probably the best written one. I probably agree with you on that.
So, this is actually kind of interesting because I think we all have different
Lord Slug.
favorites.
Is that your
Oh
favorite?
yes, Lord Slug is my favorite.
Slug!
No, I fucking like Trucker Hat Android.
Who I don't even remember, to be honest, from the original.
No.
I only think of it from the abridged series. I don't even remember that movie. I know I've seen, I just don't remember it.
Yeah. No, my favorite saga is actually the Cell Saga.
Like, do you count all this? Do you count the androids as part of the Cell Saga?
Yeah.
Like the first.
Yeah.
half
Well,
of-
I mean,
okay.
if you
Like, it
wanted to
is?
be specific, you could have been, but
Yeah.
no rules. Whatever you want.
I mean, I guess Android and Cell Saga are two different, but I consider them the same.
No, I think that like they're close enough to be considered the same thing. But if someone wants to say, granted, I don't know who would say that like the Android Saga more than the Cell Saga, because like kind of just watching Trunks show up, beat a couple people up, and then everybody get their shit wrecked.
Yeah.
You also watch Akira Toriyama just like keep writing himself out of a box.
Yeah.
But like, I like that saga the most because that's when like, the stakes
Yeah.
feel highest,
I agree.
and also Trunks.
Yeah,
Back in the day, Trunks was the
he
shit.
was. He's ridiculous now, but
Yeah.
he doesn't do anything.
Ridiculously high pectoral muscles.
Because at the time there was no other Super Saiyans, and then Trunks is like, "Hey, I'm from the future. I got golden hair too." And then he fucking decimates Frieza in like 2 seconds.
Which was cool as a kid, and now we're old and we're
Yeah,
like,
as a
what?
yep, mm-hmm.
Why'd you bring him back then?
You know.
I agree
So-
with you though, Josh. I think the Cell Saga, like in terms of like just taking all the technical stuff out because the Cell Saga is a mess. If you just look at it as like coolness, I think the
Yeah.
Cell Saga is probably the coolest of the sagas.
I agree.
Like the Frieza Saga is probably the most like epic and grandiose, and like I'd say that's the quintessential Dragon Ball Z saga is the Frieza Saga. The Cell Saga is the cool saga, and then the Buu Saga is
Dragon Ball Z was supposed to end on the Frieza saga.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed
Dragon
to
Ball
end
was
after
supposed to
each
end-
saga, pretty much.
Dragon Ball
Yeah.
was supposed to end after they gathered the Dragon Balls in the originals. Akira Toriyama like it was
Likes
funny
money.
because but see, the funny thing about that, Derek, is that a lot of people think Dragon Ball kept going because the show was popular. That's not true. The show did not get popular. The series did not get popular until
Z.
he started doing the tournament and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's when people started paying attention to Dragon Ball, and then Dragon Ball didn't really blow up huge until what we call the Z saga. So it's funny that, you know, I think it's more Akira Toriyama really liking his product than him being today I'd say he's a money hungry whore, but back then I disagree with that. I think he just really liked this world that he created and wanted to keep doing stuff. And it's funny too, if you go back and watch Dragon Ball. I guess because I'm doing a show, I'm thinking more about Dragon Ball because it's better written. But like, there are a lot of things in it that kind of, I know he wasn't thinking that far ahead, but like, a lot of people called Goku an alien back then. It's like, well, he kind of is. It's unintentional foreshadowing, and I can't think of a lot of stuff off the top of my head, but it's just funny that as much stuff doesn't work in a second rewatch, it's funny to see how much stuff actually still does work. Like with the new canon and stuff, with Goku being a alien and all that, and Piccolo and all that kind of stuff. Most of it is obviously just Kiriyama, pulling stuff out of his tail because
to figure out, how to get himself out of the corner he put himself in.
Because like I was saying, the Cell Saga is probably the messiest of all the sagas because
it doesn't make a lick of damn sense.
Trunks doesn't pay off because the time travel thing ultimately doesn't mean anything, so Trunks is useless. The two fresh androids that they introduce us to, people didn't like the design, so he designed Android 17 and 18, and then people didn't like the fact that they just looked like people, so then he created Cell, and then Cell just kind of becomes Frieza, and then it just turns into another tournament, and like that. Like, when you go back and look at the Cell Saga, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it is this, that and the Buu Saga are probably the messiest, make no sense seasons.
But the Buu Saga embraces it, at least, I guess.
Oh yeah, the Buu Saga is just nuts. The Cell Saga is like, ooh, we're the bad saga, we're the cool one. We've got the big electric transformations and character development. And it's like, no, you don't. This is just a lot of cool fight scenes and cool designs and cool moments. Because Cell could have been, in my opinion, he actually could have been a good, like, outside of just saying Dragon Ball Z good.
No,
I think he could have just been a good villain, but he's not. Because all the scariness and menace is ruined because then he just turns into Frieza. Mm-hmm. Like, the whole fight at the end is just Frieza again. His whole thing about wanting to be perfect, he becomes perfect. Okay, and then what?
We fight.
We fight, right?
Now we must fight.
Not with our
Super Saiyan.
But
Super Saiyan 3 transformation.
and
the law.
And Claw. Tonight, Law.
But
we have to celebrate Dragon Ball Z because
Kill yourself.
Whoa. Do you
Where did
mean
that come
that?
from?
Was that was that not supposed to be a pun?
No.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Celebrate.
Oh, no. Don't give me. We all like Dragon Ball Z, so.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Cell also does the weird, I'm gonna transform, and then transform, and then transform thing, like, so. And then transform again, and then transform again, so, yeah.
Cell seems
that
more
doesn't stop,
warranted
by the
than
way.
Frieza's, but.
Well, it's funny that you say that because he literally only did that because people didn't like the design.
Yeah.
And then the second design people didn't like, so he did it again. Because I ain't doing it again, nah. The third one, that's it. Personally,
and he never
I like
goes
his
back,
first design
ever.
the best.
I think the first design is the creepiest.
I think
It feels the most like a nightmare monster.
Exactly, like that could have been the way they fight it. It could have just been like a horror movie villain. That's how they try to build it up, and then he sits there and monologues with Piccolo and reveals everything, so there's no mystery to him. as all good villains do, don't you know?
Don't you know? Shoutouts to Canadians.
Yeah, but anyway, that was just random. I guess I just wanted. We haven't had a Dragon Ball Z talk on the show, so there you go.
That's the first of probably many.
Oh, definitely. Especially once I get more into the show that I'm working on and I start pulling more from Dragon Ball, which is going to happen. I guarantee that.
Nothing wrong with stealing.
It's too much of an influence in my childhood for it not to be. So,
Oh,
Yeah, nothing wrong with stealing. You've heard it here, folks. Don't use Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll, Josh's opinions do not represent the opinions of us in the show. We have
yeah,
bills to pay, so
we mentioned it early on. We're all whores. If anybody wants to sponsor us, please. We'll say whatever you want us to. I promise.
for the most part.
For the most
We won't
part.
lie, you know. Won't tell you that. Well, we won't lie that hard. We won't tell you that, like, you know, if you buy a box of Cheerios, I don't know, like there'll be
Game of Thrones will become good.
yeah.
Though I'm not above saying, like, X is the best show on TV right now. Like,
Oh no, I'll do that.
mm,
Can't prove that. That's
It's
not
not too
lying.
many
That's just a bad
shows.
opinion.
right. It's not too many shows that I hate that much that I wouldn't shill for. So, just being upfront about that.
Current Simpsons.
I'd even shill for that just because it's got a legacy.
We can
they've got a lot
justify
of
it
money.
somehow. Yeah.
Yep.
Teen Titans Go.
Cartoon Network. I like Cartoon Network, and I'd like to work for them, so I would chill for that show. If I had to.
Tyler Perry's House of Pain.
That might be the one thing I would. But let's move on.
All right.
You don't want to make enemies.
Yeah. Let's not do this next one just because I feel like that's a long conversation. I think.
Okay. It's up to you. I mean, it was your topic. So.
No, yeah, let's do it next week. Because I think it's worth talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice to eat up time.
Yeah. Oh, well, now we have to the next one is okay, so serious mode, right? When was our last serious time here on the
Probably
Ig'rance
last
podcast?
week.
Last episode.
Or
No, I
last
think-
episode.
I think last episode was fine. The one before we might have had some shit go down. So I guess, you know, I'd imagine most people listening to this know that this happened, but it was
And it is relevant to us because it does have to do with nerd stuff in a
I
way.
think it was
Yeah.
was it I think it was the 24th of August, something like that. There was a Madden, I guess it was a Madden tournament, right?
Yeah, it was a Madden esports tournament.
Yeah, so there was a Madden esports tournament, and there was a shooting there. From my understanding, one of the competitors, I think he lost, and he went home, and he came back with a gun, and he killed 4 people? Was it 4 people or 5 people?
I heard 5. I should say 5. I'm going
Okay,
pull up some things to make sure we get our facts right.
yeah.
Yeah.
As of
This was in
the 28th, 2 people were left dead and 10 are injured from gunshots. Let me see if that's
Yeah.
an update. But go on.
So yeah, I guess there's a lot going on with this. I don't know what I think the shooter's dead, right?
I think he killed himself.
Yeah,
yeah, he took his own life.
Which
you know, yeah. I don't know. This is just very much so.
yeah, it's hard to
I
even
mean,
comment
this is just
on
a-
something like this.
It's just sad, I
Yeah,
guess.
this is
you know,
just-
first and foremost.
It's just a thing that happens way too much
Yeah.
in our like. It feels like we're talking about one of these every week.
And that's
Okay, so one-
absolutely true because I feel like there's been a shooting since this one, wasn't there?
Maybe I think at a school.
Or
But,
something. I
yeah,
feel like it was
yeah.
something right after this. This wasn't
But-
even that long ago.
I feel like this one's only getting talked about because it wasn't at a school; it was at an event.
Right.
Right. I guess one thing that I will say is I feel like over the internet a lot of people like kind of lose track of reality, I guess. And this is something that I kind of think goes to show that, like, no, like, things should be taken seriously. Like, how do I want to say this? I don't know, I guess. Like, I know I think it was in 2017 at a Super Smash Brothers, or it wasn't just Super Smash Brothers, it was, I think it was CEO, where they have, like, Super Smash Bros. And Melee and Street Fighter and Super Smash Bros. And Melee. They have, like, Super Smash Bros. And Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, just, like, fighting games in general.
Yeah.
There was a situation, it was either that or last year's Evo, one of the two, where security found a gun in someone's backpack. So,
Which, I mean, I saw earlier that one of the victims is actually suing
EA.
EA and the venue.
Yeah.
They might win the venue.
I don't think
They
they'll
won't
win
win
EA.
EA.
Yeah, I definitely think that venues.
Well, it's not EA's fault.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this.
I hate to be
Yeah.
like cold
No.
about that, but the
You
EA
can't
literally
blame
has
this.
nothing to
Yeah.
do with this.
No, this is something. Yeah,
And we don't like EA, so trust we're not shilling for them.
but
But the venue should have had way better security.
I mean, this is like I understand. And like another thing I know that happens, like a lot of players, for example, like okay, so something I know about, in the Melee community, a lot of people really don't like Hungrybox, right? Like they think his character's cancer, he's ruining the game, he's not fun to watch, blah 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 blah, and he gets personally attacked for it a lot. Like, to the point where people are like, I hope you fucking die, blah 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 blah. Which
Yeah, the usual. The usual internet
yeah,
stuff.
which especially for like the people who go to these kind of events and like compete, I can definitely understand like how that combining the threats they get over the internet with this event happening in real life can be really unsettling. And for a time, I feel like a lot of people are like, well, let's just, all talk on the internet. Nothing's ever going to happen in real life. But, like, something.
And then
When
something
you have these
happens.
events,
Yeah. Like, so, I don't know. I guess one thing, security should be increased. It's sad that we have to say this. Because I don't know. I feel like people just kind of wanted to hang out and play video games together. Like,
from what I can see, what I've been reading, that the guy who shot everything was he was a competitor.
yeah.
He lost early on or something like that, and
Yeah.
went home and came back. From what I'm seeing,
Which obviously I'm not gonna at all blame this on him losing. Like,
no, of
people
course
lose
not.
all the
There was-
time. They're
no, there was
definitely,
something going on
yeah.
in his head. Like the fact that
Yeah.
there are, from what I'm reading, there have been over 150 mass shootings this year alone. Like that's not a case of a bunch of people just ticked off that they lost at a video game. That
No,
is a
people
systemic problem,
people lose all the time. Like,
or a societal problem, I should say.
right.
And you notice this is all coming out in our generation after all of our fucking. It can be argued that our generation had the worst school experience.
Well, you mean in terms of like shootings and stuff like that?
Well, no, that's this generation, fucking the generation after us. But like, a lot of shootings and stuff is happening. Like at the end of our. I hate using the generational terms, but like the end of the millennials who are coming out of high school, and then the generation, I think they're called post millennials. Like our school experience was pretty bad, and nothing has
Generation
been
Z.
done to fix.
That's
Yeah.
after us.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, so like millennial school experience was pretty bad. And we said stuff about it, but nothing got done about it, so it's just gotten worse. And now Generation Z is dealing with the problems that we dealt with, and they're just not able to cope with it. And I think there's a lot of like mental issues that are just going unchecked
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
no one cares about it.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't think we want to get too into the political aspect of this
'Cause we
on this show,
could.
because that's
We could.
yeah, because
'Cause
that.
I
But
already know where
that's
that'll go, but that's not the show for that.
yeah. This that I guess we're not a platform for that. But one thing that I
No.
think that we're all comfortable talking about is like mental illness and mental
Yeah.
health is an issue, and
It isn't
again,
addressed.
there has I don't know what was going on with this guy, but like definitely was some stuff going on. So
Yeah, like I said, it isn't addressed in our society. I've noticed we've gotten to a point now where I think people are starting to become comfortable talking about it. But when we were young, I mean,
couldn't,
if you
no.
had a bad day, get over it.
Yeah.
You're sad, oh, just go cheer yourself up. Like,
no, like people
People
like would clown people for being like suicidal or depressed
Sad.
or something like that. Like
Yeah.
when we were, I mean, this isn't even that long ago, but like about 10 years ago, I remember there was this big thing on the internet about cheer up, emo kid, or whatever. Oh, people laughing at like people cutting themselves and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, I just think that's so like bullyish. Like, what a hateful mentality to have, to laugh at somebody that's going through something that they can't control in their head.
yeah. One thing I also actually kind of will say though, like I think it's getting better, but I also think that the way that like kids are coping with this kind of stuff is not healthy for
I
them.
agree.
Like a lot of it's just like substance abuse and things in that vein. So like
And it
Which-
doesn't help that we live in I'm gonna watch my wording, but we do live in a very volatile society where we do encourage violence. And I'm not saying the game is what encouraged the violence, but this person did have easy access to a gun and was able to injure 12 people and kill 3. So
Apparently, he legally bought 2 weapons the month
you
before.
see what I mean? That's what I'm
So,
talking about.
you know.
This person with mental illness should not have been able to legally just buy guns. There was obviously something wrong with them. You can't just go around and kill people and there not be something going on. You kill people over a video game. It's not that deep.
right, like
Like, you can't... And that's another thing. Like, maybe this is something from... that I can say we can blame video games a little bit on. People just become so desensitized to the concept of death. Like, I don't really care what your belief is, what happens after you die, but what we do know for a fact is once you're
We're
gone,
here right
you're not
now.
coming back
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
So, I mean, the idea of taking somebody's life, I think, has been a little trivialized, and people don't really... It doesn't hit you until it like personally affects you, which I think
Right.
is selfish. But I don't even think that's necessarily a consequence of video games. I just think it's our society kind of
Not
like...
I mean, I don't know. I feel like if like with situations like this have been trivialized by our society because it's like
Well, because it's
It
the
happens all the-
154th mass shooting of the year.
yeah, it just kind of happens all the time. So people, unfortunately, it's lost its impact and nothing's changed. So
And we don't talk about this kind of stuff often, which I'm glad we don't, because this is really depressing. But I whenever this happens, if you listen to the news, they literally say the same thing every time. This is
Yeah.
sad. Oh my God, we can't believe this happened. Thoughts and prayers. We need to have a conversation about gun control. We need to have a conversation about mental illness. And then the next week, nobody's talking about any of that stuff. And then another shooting happens. Oh my God, thoughts and prayers. We need to have a conversation about gun. And then they say it over and over and over and over and over. And this keeps happening and nothing is changing. And like I said, it feels like people don't really take this stuff seriously until it affects them personally. And I don't want to take that chance and wait until it affects me personally, because we're all humans. And when these kids are dying because they're playing games, like, that literally could have been somebody I know there. Like,
Right,
just because
like-
it wasn't doesn't mean I'm not going to be sympathetic towards these people, because it could have been.
no, I mean, again, these were people. I don't know. I think it's a similar situation with school stuff where I see, I don't know, people who just wanted to like hang out and play video games with their friends and just be kind of kids about it. You know,
Yeah.
like this is a completely innocent situation that was turned into something that it shouldn't have been, because there are a lot of issues going on that no one's really doing anything about.
Yeah. And the way things are in our society, I don't really, like I said, nothing really happens. So until it affects somebody personally, I don't feel like they really are inclined to do anything about it.
Right.
It's a sucky situation, and it's scary because I actually know a lot of people that like doing this kind of stuff, going
Yeah.
to video game tournaments. I actually have a friend who used to do brawl tournaments back in when that was still a thing. So the
Yeah.
thought of me hearing that he got shot at one of those things is just terrifying. So I mean, or even like if it wasn't a video game tournament, what if it was just a convention? Or I mean, it's happened in the movie theaters. Like, we all go to the movies. Or what if
Right.
it was just at a sporting event? Everybody goes to sporting events. Like, this is just, it's too frequent. Once is too many, in my opinion. 154 times is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
I remember in high school when we used to have a whole like day dedicated to Columbine.
I remember that too. Well, you know,
Eh.
when I'm really not gonna make this political, but when there's people out there saying that the Sandy Hook people are all fakers
Fake.
and actors, I'm just saying, you create people that become desensitized to this stuff, and that's dangerous and it's disgusting. And
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about this, but like it's so frequent that each shooting doesn't even have a name. It's just the
Yeah.
shooting of the week now.
exactly, like when you mentioned Columbine, when that happened, it was this huge ordeal. I mean, we've had how many Columbine since then?
Right.
Like Columbine, I mean, I'm sure Columbine, if you look at the numbers, I don't even really want to look at all those stats because that's going to make me sad. But I feel like Columbine has happened and happened and happened and happened and happened.
Yeah.
And when it comes to doing something about it, nothing's changed. I remember in 2010, there was that It Gets Better campaign for like gay kids that are being bullied and stuff. That's a nice start, but like, I mean, there's so many issues out there. We got to do more than just have celebrities put
Pat
tape
you
over
on the
their
back.
mouths.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta, the bullying thing or whatever we want to call it, the mental health or the issues that we have with young people in our society, I just feel like totally get thrown out the window. And as I get older, I guess I selfishly could just be like, oh well, it doesn't affect me anymore. But I mean, it does, because that's our future. I don't want a bunch of like mentally unstable people running the world when I'm an old man.
I mean, that's just how it always happens.
Right.
That's how it's been for generations and generations.
Right. And it seems to just be getting worse because technology is like outspeeding us.
Well, yeah, high school was made to teach people how to be factory workers and how to work on an assembly line.
Yeah.
Which,
How many assembly line jobs are there now?
yeah, that's
2?
outdated. The whole idea of, you know, growing up and going to work in the coal mines, like, who does coal anymore?
Yeah.
Despite what some people would have you believe, that's never
Coal
coming
is
back.
not in.
Coal is, you can't clean it either.
It's-
just
you know,
saying.
and
It's oil.
if anyone out there listening out there is thinking about investing in coal, nah,
Probably not
dog,
the
I don't.
business to go
You know,
in.
I'm far from an investment banker, but
Believe me.
I don't think that's it. But I guess moving on.
Unless you have anything else to say, guys.
No,
I mean, we could talk about this. Could just spiral
Yeah.
into the problems of America for years and years.
This is America. Have you guys seen Sacha Baron Cohen's show Who is America, by the way?
no, I have not.
Okay, I'm
No.
going to put that in our group chat, and if you get a chance, just look at one of them. It's such a funny show. I'm
Okay.
going to put it in our Discord.
All right.
a link to if I remember. But anyway, let's move on.
All right. So I guess we can 180.
Yeah, let's lighten it
Yeah.
up some.
So we typically like to rant about at least one thing at the end of episodes. And this week,
We might want to take this one off.
yeah. So this week I am going to rant.
I know. I just thought about that. I was gonna rant about somebody in particular, but I'm gonna leave that one out. You can go. This is your week, there.
Yeah. So as of now, like just I graduated college, working for a few months before I move, and I'm a delivery driver for Amazon right now. Right? Pretty decent job for like a 21-year-old kid. Pays technically $18 an hour, but I finish early every time, so it's like 22 bucks an hour, which I'm like, hell yeah, that's nice, right? But part of what I said my job was being a delivery driver, so I drive a lot. And let me tell you what, like,
Let me tell you what.
let me tell you something, youngster. No, bad drivers are, and not bad in this, they infuriate me, and not bad in the sense of you don't understand it. Granted, if you don't understand how to operate a 2-ton piece of metal, you probably shouldn't be operating a 2-ton piece of metal. But
It's almost like you have to take an extensive test on how to get a license to operate a 2-ton piece of metal that it doesn't fire giant or small projectiles that can penetrate people. That's political, my bad.
that's fine. But and so it's bad drivers, right? But obviously people have their pet peeves with driving or just in life. And probably one of my biggest pet peeves. Okay, so I'm going to paint a scenario for you guys, right? Let's say that we're on like a 2-lane highway. It doesn't matter. Use your fucking turn signal. Like it
Switching lanes, turning, use your
it
turn
requires minimal effort because technically you already should have 2 hands on the wheel, right? And the turn
Right.
signal is right next to your left hand. You literally just have to like flick your hand up or down. And
You
for
like,
people
look
who
at the
don't know,
flick of the
you flip it up if you want to go right, and you flick it down if you want to go left. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe no one ever taught these people, which one's up and which one's down. And if you don't know which one left is, hold up your left hand and make an L with it. That's your left hand. The other
Not
one
to mention if you
is your right hand.
if you look to the left and right of your speedometer on your dashboard, you can see which one is on.
That's true. It'll tell you. These cars are fancy nowadays. They have all kinds of features to make sure that you don't make the experience completely awful for everyone around you. And I swear to God, the next person who I see merge into my lane without using their turn signal, I'm going to follow them to wherever they're going and break their turn signals because they clearly don't need them. Like,
No,
this
I
is
actually want to see you
infuriating.
do that. Just go break somebody's.
Car. Like, why'd you do that? They clearly didn't need them.
My pet peeve, I mean, I have a lot of driving pet peeves, but one of the ones that get me is when people leave their turn signal on, like, and they're just driving 2 miles down the
Yeah.
road with their left turn signal
Yeah.
on, and I'm like, all right, get over, and they just never do.
Or when people drive exactly parallel to you.
Oh yeah.
Or when people drive in your blind spot and it's like, I try to slow down so they can pass me.
And then they slow down.
Yeah. And I'm like, dog, you're making this really... there's only like 10 degrees I need you to not drive in. And...
Or people who fucking ride your ass.
Oh, I'll slam on brake. Like, I've been so tempted to do that.
Brake check. Oh yeah, me too.
Like, you know what?
If
Hit me. It's your fault. I can slam on brakes right now, and you will get in trouble for it. The officer can be like, why'd you slam on brakes? Just felt like it. All right.
I thought I saw something in the road.
Yeah. So,
I mean, here, where I live currently, I could just slam on my brakes at any time and be completely justified for it because it's deer crossing all the way through, like all the way up to the highway. So I could just do that,
there you go.
and the cops probably wouldn't even ask.
So, people, I understand, driving is definitely something that can get monotonous because most people do it every day. But just don't be a dick.
There's a reason car accidents are the number one reason for death.
So that's pretty much my rant. I haven't driven. Well, I drove last night, but last night there was no one on the highway, so I was in a good mood. Well, no, I was in a bad mood, but not because of driving. But anyway, that's tangential. I think that does it, though.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
A nice, beefy, almost 2-hour episode.
That was good. I'm proud of us. Pats on the back. We love everyone who's listening. Well, love is a strong word, but we have a mutual respect for everyone listening, so.
Usually takes us a while to get back into it whenever we take these week breaks, but
we're pretty good this time.
I think this
when
this one's pretty good.
We get into it.
I mean, we did spend an hour beforehand just talking. So
That's true.
Yeah.
And we did talk the other day, which we don't do enough of. But you all don't care about that, so.
yeah, you don't care about how much of a friends we are with each
you don't
other.
care about our well-being.
Surely don't care about mine. But anyway.
Wow.
Like, comment, subscribe.
All right, everybody.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.